here. Going to talk about some different things going on baseball wise as far as travel spots, MLB, the Wager Detective brand, fielding any questions anyone may have out there about Wager Detective and what he's doing as a sports bettor and what he's trying to do to further advance his the brand and what he's trying to do as far as writing a book and doing things that uh, are changing the sport. And as far as what's being posted on Twitter with the Wager Detective report, the implied probability report, the Diamond report, a lot of different things that Wager Detective is doing, and he's trying to branch out. And let's get into it. Wager Detective. What is Wager Detective? What does he do? Wager Detective is an up and coming brand, a niche. That's what the algorithm is saying about Wager Detective. Someone that provides data and analysis on a daily basis, trying to help bettors out better what they do, for no other reason than to help. But also, Wager Detective is just more looking to try to give insight to how you can become a better sports bettor on a daily basis, and everything and anything you do, you learn from experience. It's like that Jay-Z song where he said, I went through that, so hopefully you wouldn't have to go through that. So that's what we're talking about. And I'm in New Jersey now. Today is August 3rd, 2026, and I'm just excited, man. I'm excited about the future. We got college football on the horizon. We have NFL coming up, basketball, NBA, and college basketball's on the horizon. And we're in the thick of Major League Baseball season right now. I mean, don't look around now, but you got, the trade deadline just happened. A lot of guys moving teams. I was surprised to see the Yankees got Luis Garcia, a major, major uh, acquisition for them. A team that just needs a hitter in that lineup because they're just not hitting the ball. They don't have Judge in the lineup. Ben Rice seems to be the only guy in that lineup that's doing anything and everything on any given night. And somehow the Yankees managed to go into Chicago, into Wrigley, and take two from the Cubs. So I wouldn't look at the Cubs as being that team that you're going to see come playoff times. That's going to be a team that's going to necessarily do anything in the playoffs once they get there. I just don't think they got the pitching. Oddly enough, ironically enough, they got rid of uh, uh, Tylerson. He got traded. And then, you look at that lineup, the Cubs definitely got a nasty lineup, with CPA and Suzuki and Horner and Bush. They got guys up and down that lineup that can hurt you at any given time. I like Craig Counsell as a manager. I'm not necessarily sold on that team doing anything, even if they do get to the playoffs. Now, I like the Brewers, but if you talk to some of the sharps that I've talked to recently, you'll find that the same question mark keeps coming up. The youth on that team, as far as Mizorowski and Ashby and those guys, is that going to be enough to get you over the hump? You're already not a power hitting team. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I like Churio, I like Terang, I like Yelich, I like Vaughn, I like Evans. I like a lot of those guys in that lineup. I love the manager over there from Milwaukee, but I don't necessarily know if they're a team that is going to be able to even hang with a team like the Phillies. Now I know the Phillies got questionable pitching, but we still got Wheeler and we still got Sanchez. So I mean, and we got Luzardo. So you got guys in that rotation that can get you the wins that you need to advance in the playoffs. And I think the Phillies would be a tough matchup for the Brewers. I mean, that lineup, dealing with Shore, dealing with Harper, now we just got Arias, from the Giants. So that's going to be an interesting addition to this lineup. Stott and Bohm are starting to heat up. And you got, other names in that lineup. Rincon, Brian De La Cruz. I mean, look at that guy. Former Brave comes in yesterday, gets gets a couple key hits and RBIs for the Phillies to win that game in Baltimore yesterday. Beat Baltimore. It was a 6-inning game. You don't see too many of those. The Phillies are primed and prepped. They don't have the manager over there, Thompson, anymore to kind of hamstring them as far as what they're trying to do. And listen, at the end of the day, I'm a Mattingly kind of guy. I think he's good for what they need right now. I would have loved to have seen him go out and get a pitcher, but not in the works for them. I don't think the Braves are necessarily a team to fear. Although I do like, you do have Sale and you do have Lopez over there as far as your pitchers, and Elder's not bad, and Holmes, he's questionable, and that lineup just seems like it's fading. You can't get a healthy for for a long stretch. And then I do like Olson, and I do like Riley's another question mark. Are we going to see the Riley of old come back? Ozzy Albies is good. I like guys like Baldwin over there. They got talent. The Braves are tough, but I think the Phillies are better long term heading into the playoffs. I think they would get by the Braves as well. I think they would get by the Brewers. The only team that you're really looking at is the team out west. And I think the Diamondbacks are a sneaky play. I think the Pirates, if they could somehow sneak into the playoff, could be a team that could be exciting. I do believe that the Dodgers are just an overrated team. I like them, man. But you've seen this weekend. They're coming out in the second half. They're playing the mirror opposite of what they played during the regular season, the first half of the season, and they got swept by the Red Sox. Now, I'm not saying that's bad because the Red Sox are a pretty darn good team and have come out in the second half and they're just playing absolutely. I think they're like 17-3 in their last 20 games. And I like their pitching over there. Believe it or not, you got a guy like Bennett, low key. You got a guy like Tolly, low key. You would like to see a team like that get pitching, but Rafael Cedena, you got Duran hitting in the eighth spot. I mean, you're not going to get too many eight-hole hitters that are as good as him. So they got them guys. They got Cedena, they got Duran. Trying to think of some other names off the top of my head. They're just Contreras. I mean, they got deadly bats over there. I would love to have seen what would happen if they still had Rafael Devers, but you look at this team, man. Boston is definitely a team. UNLV, buddy, thank you for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. Just talking baseball, fielding any questions. Who's doing hot? The trade deadline that just happened. Talking about, looking at the teams from the National League. I think the Dodgers are going to be overvalued because they got Tariq Skubal. They do got good pitching, but you seen yesterday, a guy like Sheehan got absolutely rocked. Wager Detective was all over. The Red Sox in that game. Bet them on the money line, and they were great value. And I looked at it and I said, well, why are the Red Sox getting like plus 160? I bet that. You could find that on YouTube, on Twitter, Wager Detective. Follow them on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Set alerts on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Wager Detective all over that value of plus 168 with Bennett on the mound. And Bennett, for what it's worth, man, he's a great young pitcher that a lot of people really don't know about right now. Like I said, Tolly, and you still got Sonny Gray over there who could go out, veteran leadership. They got the bats, and ever since they got rid of their coach over there, can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. Oh, Alex Cora. Ever since they got rid of Alex Cora, they've been playing better baseball. So you're looking at that team. Then you got the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks absolutely got studs in that lineup. Kettle Marty. You got Corbin Carroll. Got guys in that lineup over there that can just flip a game on its head. I like that lineup over there. Then when you get to the American League, you got a lot to unpack there, but how could you not like the all-around team of the Chicago White Sox? They came into the season as a team that was supposed to win 65 games max, and you could have got that team for 65 wins, and they're rounding that number now. They should have that done, man, probably in the next 2 weeks. They should be looking at covering that team total over 65 and a half, maybe even sooner than that. So, you look at the White Sox. I like that team. I like Martin. I like Schultz as your pitchers. I like Schultz, Martin, K. Not bad. Every kiss begins with K. That kid is a young talent. And then you look at that lineup. I mean, Murakami, Antonacci, Benintendi, Meredith. All these guys are just absolutely fantastic, and they hit for power. You've seen what they did to the Rays. They absolutely demolished them in that 3-game series, and they're playing great. And then you got the Astros. They just swept the Rangers. People look at the Rangers, don't think that team, has talent. You look at that pitching over there. You expect DeGrom to pitch a little better than he did in the outing versus the against the Astros, but he gave up runs when it mattered most. But I like the Rangers pitching. I like Latz as a bullpen guy. Um, who else do they got over? Oh, Nimmo, one of my favorite players in baseball. You got him, as a hitter. So Nimmo, Jock Peterson, got guys. You got Evans, the kid Evans over there. They got talent over there, man, and I think they could make a push. But the Astros are saying no. I don't think so. I think the Astros, for what it's worth, listen. You got Jordan Alvarez. If I'm the Rangers, UNLV, I'm not going Seager. Absolutely not. Absolutely. The kid's a stud. I think if anything, you have the talent there to to kind of build on what you already got over there. And like I was just saying, it's funny you're talking about the Rangers. I like Seager. I like Nimmo. I like Jock Peterson. They got power in that lineup. I like Evans. They have guys over there. Their pitching needs to get more in tune. Rocker is just not that guy. I don't know what you'll do with him if you make it to the postseasons. He's not a starter. I would definitely move him to the bullpen more as a setup guy. You got DeGrom. I'm trying to think of some other pitchers over there that I like. And Latz is a good bullpen arm. They can close up a game. But I think the Astros are showing that they have a better team with what they got. And, you got Jordan Alvarez that's looking to try to win the Triple Crown. And, I mean, in that series against the Rangers, he absolutely just dominated. I think he went 4 for 5 yesterday with a couple RBIs. You got Pena. You got who's the other guy? The kid that used to play for the Rays that plays third base. You got him over there. You still got Altuve. You know what I'm saying? They got talent over there. I think the Astros are good, but if I'm looking at them and I'm looking at the White Sox and I'm looking at the Rays, I think the White Sox might be that team that is the most well-rounded. And it's crazy enough to say because they just came out of nowhere. They literally just showed up and said, listen, we're taking MLB by storm. And how can you not be a fan of Murakami? I think they got the pitching. You look at the Central. I think as you go further, Minnesota's going to be a team that's going to have to be dealt with. Buxton, too many injuries in and out of the lineup. But I like that young team. They have a lot of heart in the Central there. But I think the White Sox are going to be the team. And I don't trust the Indians. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I think the Indians are a team that they just can't seem to hit. They don't have enough. Like, I like Chase DeLauder. I like Juan. I like Ramirez. But their pitching, for one, is something to be desired there. I mean, I don't know if I trust them enough. I mean, listen, I like Gavin Williams. I think he's a great pitcher. I like Tanner Bybee. I think Tanner Bybee's with them. I'm not sold on their bullpen. They've shown too many times. Herron. And another kid that comes in for them that is just always getting thrown into these games that just doesn't pan out. They do have a good closer over there. I want to say the guy's name is Lee, but they just don't get enough done when it matters most, and I just don't trust their lineup. You look at the Tigers getting rid of Scooble. I guess they're packing it in. I mean, is it time to just start fading the Tigers? It didn't look that way yesterday when they played Oakland, but I mean Sacramento, the Athletics. But I don't think the Athletics are that team that they were last year, and I don't think that they will be. I think they're another fade team. So, and then when you get to the American League East, I think the Yankees really equalized that division a great deal by getting Luis Garcia. I think that deal, that trade. I listen. At the end of the day, I have no idea why why the Nationals would get rid of him when you had a triple core threat with Woods and Abrams and then Garcia. That's got to take a lot of steam out of that team. I look at maybe fading the Nationals now. I don't know why they made that trade. I have no idea what they benefited by that. I didn't hear anything, them getting any boomerang players in return for Luis Garcia. And I would really fade this team whenever you get the chance, especially when they're at home where they don't play as good when compared to when they're on the road. But I think as a whole, you kind of got to fade that team. But back to the Yankees. I think the Yankees now with Garcia in that lineup, I think, you got Cam Schlittler, underrated, low-key guy, not even really on the radar yet by most baseball fans. Unless you're a true baseball guy, you're not going to really appreciate what they got in that deal. So when we look at the Rangers, I'm looking. I mean, when we look at the Yankees, when are we getting when are we getting Judge back? We got Ben Rice that's holding it down over there. I like that kid Rosario. I don't know why he's not in the lineup more. Volpe, a guy that you're probably gonna take out of the lineup now that you got Garcia, who wasn't really doing anything anyway. And you got guys like Trent Grisham over there. What are those guys? I mean, you look at that lineup, and it's like, how can the Yankees be the second most favored team in baseball to win win the World Series? I just don't buy it. You know, I like Tampa Bay over them. I think Tampa Bay has the pitching. You know, with Rasmussen, and once they get the other kid off the injured list, the other left-hander, can't remember his name. He just went on the IL. Another good pitcher for them, and then they got a really solid lineup, top to bottom, with what they got over there. So when you're looking at the American League East, I got a slight edge to the Tampa Bay, but you saw them get wiped out by the White Sox. I mean, they absolutely got manhandled by the White Sox, and you're looking at a Tampa Bay team that could be fizzling. If you're going to look at that game tonight, I got to like the Rockies plus 135. I got to be honest with you. I don't care if Lorenzen's on the mound. You're going to thin air. You're coming off a home beating. Now you got to travel 1,900 miles to the thin air elevation. Are you going to be up for that game, an interleague game? And listen, don't look now, but the Rockies could be that team that you want to kind of start grabbing. The books are starting to catch up to them fairly early on by making them small dogs compared to what they were last year. I think the books are catching on to the fact that that team can hit, and they're exciting now. And all I said for them was they had to get rid of that manager Bud Black. They got rid of him. It was a long time coming, and now they got the new manager over there. Seems to have them playing well. I like the Rockies tonight. If I'm looking at that game, small dog, and then another game tonight we're looking at as far as baseball, Rangers and the Giants. Now, I know the Rangers have lost five straight, but listen, when three of those games come against the White Sox, it's totally understandable to lose a couple of those games. Now, at the end of the day, I'm not necessarily saying that, you know, Tampa Bay is a bad team. I just think situationally, you get beat like that. Now you're going on the road against a team that just scored 8 runs against the Royals yesterday. I'm looking at that and I'm saying, at plus money odds, I'm taking that all day long. Now I know pitching goes both ways, but I don't. I mean, this guy Seymour, I don't know, man. I don't know. When you got a guy that's going to go probably pitch for the first time in thin air, you got to believe that that's going to be an experience to have to adjust. And you look at Paul Skeens. You can say what you want about him, but his first time there at his first career start at Rocky Land in Mile High, he didn't have a good outing. And I don't think Seymour is anywhere near that type of pitcher. So I look at this team and I say, give me the Rockies tonight. Another team I like tonight. I like the Rangers. I know they lost five in a row. I know that Webb's on the mound. Listen, for what it's worth, I don't think they haven't done that well behind Webb. So why am I going to think that they're going to be? And now you don't have the extra arsenal in your lineup. You don't have Arias in the lineup because he got traded to the Phillies, by the way. I think that's going to make the Phillies even more stronger, to what they got. I don't know where you're going to put the guy because you already got Stott at second. So how do you move that around? How do you get into a position where I guess Stott is going to be a guy that's going to be on the bench. He's going to be coming off the bench now that they got Arias because he's a second baseman. So, but I like the Rangers tonight. They lost five in a row. I love this lineup, man. Listen, Brandon Nimmo is probably one of my favorite players in all of baseball. I love that guy. He hits his barrel rate is like one of the best in Major League Baseball. Jock Peterson, a home run threat anytime. I could see him hitting a home run tonight off of Webb. I could see Nimmo crushing a ball. I like Jake Berger, another guy that could probably hit a home run tonight. And guys like Evans, guys that are hiding in that lineup that are just absolutely fantastic. I like the Rangers tonight. So if I was looking at two games tonight, you could mark it here down here. Wager Detective loves the Rangers, and give me the Rockies plus money. Two teams I like there. Now you're looking at the Yankees versus the Cardinals tonight. You got Schlittler on the mound versus McGreevy. Schlittler clearly the better pitcher. He's pitching great. The one stat that did stand out to me for Schlittler is when he starts on the road and comes home, or it's one or the other. It's either a road to home start or home to road start. No, it's when he pitches on. His previous start is on the road, and then he comes home. So when you look at that, there was some stats there that kind of made it interesting. I think the Yankees should win that game. I don't know if I necessarily like the price, but the Cardinals aren't hitting the ball. Let's face it, man. And I just don't trust that team, man. Woulda. Another team that should fire that manager. I don't like Marmol. I never did. Just a bad manager. But if I'm looking at that, I think the Yankees could win. But maybe you can catch value with the Cardinals plus 1.5, because I don't necessarily know if that's going to be a runaway game. And the over-under is 8. And when you're capping these games, you got to look at teams that are both traveling. Like if you got one team that's staying at home and another team is flying in, there's room for an over there, in my belief. But if you got two teams that traveled and now they're because the Yankees are coming back from Chicago, right? They're not hitting the ball. And then you got the Cardinals that are flying from Toronto to New York. It's not a big travel spot, but you're on the move, and I think when you got two teams traveling, one's coming home, they're going to be seeing their families, you're not really focused in that first game of a series, especially on a Monday. So I would lean under in that game primarily because McGreevy seems to be unhittable. I mean, Schlittler seems to be unhittable. So you look at that and you say, McGreevy, he can give up the home run ball. You could see a home run go out tonight. Now you got Luis Garcia in the lineup. You got to give me the Yankees on that play. I just don't like the odds and what you got to lay, but I think the Yankees get it done. Another game on the board is the Cubs. Oh, the Pirates. The Pirates are playing the Cubs. I mean, another game that is it the Pirates? Somebody's playing the Cubs tonight, and I know Matthew Boyd's on the mound. I don't think it's the Pirates. It's another team. I'll think of it here. I got all these games locked in my head. I'm constantly in the box score, seeing what's going on a nightly basis. If you're following Wager Detective on Twitter, you're seeing the Diamond Report. Who's the player from that day slate that was the most impactful for his team? You're following the implied probability report that's showing you the odds and what the odds should be and what they are, and finding the value in that. Then I'm doing the travel report on Twitter. 3 different reports that are giving you insight to what's going on, where teams are traveling from. That most sports bettors, let's be honest, guys, they're just not doing it like Wager Detective is. Dodgers. Okay, the Dodgers, right. They're going to the Cubs. So Dodgers going to the Cubs. Robleski's on the mound. That's right, against Boyd. I'm constantly waiting for Boyd to fumble, to kind of like have that game where he doesn't pitch good. But the Cubs have won, I believe, don't hold me to this, but at least 6 straight games that they've won with him on the mound. He makes them chase that changeup. Teams just cannot find a way to hit that changeup. He mixes it in with the fastball. And I notice teams that stay off that pitch and they make him work, they can make quick work of Matthew Boyd, but nobody seems to do it. So I would look to see if the Dodgers are a team that don't chase, if their chase rate isn't high, if they're looking for more primarily the ball in the zone. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I think this guy Robleski's good. I could see the Dodgers getting it done here. I mean, I know the Cubs have the comfort of playing at home, but they just got done a high-profile series against the Yankees. They don't look like they're hitting the ball. The Dodgers are going to be steamed. Sometimes it's getting away from home that gets you on track. And now you're going from the road, home to the road. It could be a good time for the Dodgers to get a win here. You're getting them at a cheap price. The Cubs, I know they got talent in that lineup, but I think the Dodgers have bigger bats, with Ohtani and Pages, somebody nobody talks about, and then Dalton rushing. They have a lineup up and down, and you got Teoscar Hernandez. Give me the Dodgers in that game. Now, I know that goes against common thinking, but think about this. They have won the last 6 starts that Boyd has started. And now you're getting them at plus money at home after a loss. And all people could see is Dodgers getting swept at home against a red hot Boston Red Sox team. I didn't even talk about them. The Red Sox are a team in the National League East. Now, I think there's going to be a regression to the mean at some point, but they're playing hot enough to be talked about in the conversation of postseason baseball. You got Tolly as your pitcher. You got Sonny Gray. You got Bennett, who had a great game yesterday against a dangerous Dodgers lineup. And then you still got Chapman in the bullpen over. No, not Chapman. They got a bullpen guy over there that's pretty good. Why am I saying Chapman? I think it is Chapman, and they got a decent bullpen. One of the better ones, believe it or not, in baseball. So they're in the mix. They're in the talk. But I would caution that as fool's gold, because I do believe that they're going to come back down to earth. But right now they're in the conversation to say they could make the playoffs. They could be a wild card team, and it would be interesting with the way they're playing right now. But other games on the Major League Baseball slate. Let me see if I could ring them off here. You got the Phillies. The Phillies are playing. Phillies are playing. Come to me at some point. Like I said, I like the Rangers. I like the Rockies tonight. Those are my 2 plays that if I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, those are the guys I'm going with. But yeah, that Wager Detective. Follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Set alerts on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Wager Detective will be doing more of these lives now, just fielding, talking. I'm getting more comfortable with just finding things to talk about for a good, we're going on about a half hour here, keeping it interesting, talking about baseball. We got football coming up. I told people there's only a few weeks away. North Carolina taking on TCU in one of those opener games, end of August. Guys, get on North Carolina now, plus 6.5. North Carolina got absolutely embarrassed by TCU last year. I do not think, from my history as a sports capper, with a guy like Belichick as another factor, getting 6.5, that they're going to lose by that margin. This game's going to be close. Okay, so the Phillies are playing the Nationals. Okay, you got to go with the Phillies. Phillies historically own the Nationals. They historically own the Nationals. Now with no Luis Garcia in the lineup, you got to look at that and say that is a big blow to a team that really relied on him to open up that lineup for Woods and Abrams. And now you got no Meade in the lineup. Meade I believe went to the Dodgers. I mean, they're doing a fire sale, and it's like the Nationals were kind of like in a position where maybe they could start doing things. But I mean, man, I just don't know. And I think the game is in Philly, if I'm not mistaken, UNLV. I'm pretty sure. If it is, it gives the Nationals a chance because they do play better on the road. But a big part of that lineup was Garcia. Now you could pitch around some of these guys. I don't know who they're going to fill in with these guys. They're already they must be calling up guys from the minor league. I got to go Phillies there. I really, really do. And I look at that, and say, listen, I don't like calling chalk plays, but I mean, listen, I gave 2 good plays out on this stream right here, the Rangers and the Rockies. And if I'm looking at value, I got to look at it and say, I like this Rockies team in this spot right here, just in this spot. The travel, 2,000 miles, going to thin air after getting beat. Looks like the Tampa Bay lineup is slowing up a little bit. Lorenzen's a concern, but okay, so the game's in Philly. Thank you, UNLV. I appreciate you, buddy. It gives the Nationals a little bit of a chance, but with no Luis Garcia and the Phillies playing for something now they got Arias. They got a little bit momentum. I wouldn't be surprised if they just lay waste to this team. The Phillies are expected to kind of go on a run after losing as many games. They picked up momentum in Baltimore, win a couple of those games, and I expect them to come home and kind of pick up where they kind of left off with that series against Baltimore. And I expect them to get it done. I expect the Yankees to get it done tonight. The Rockies, the Rockies and the Rain, they're all home teams. Crazy, right? I'm calling everything I called so far is the home team in this game. You know, except the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers go into Chicago, and they finally somebody finally solves the riddle of Matthew Boyd, and it'll be you know, you got to realize teams that are mentally washed after getting manhandled like they did against Boston. Now they go on the road and they see the name Matthew Boyd. They know bulletin board material, pitching good. They haven't lost with him on the mound in like 6 straight games. And I expect some kind of regression from Matthew Boyd. I think the Dodgers have to line up to expose him. Freddie Freeman's not going to chase pitches out of the zone. Ohtani is probably going to clean up his act because he was hitting balls out of the zone yesterday. I think they're going to get a beat on this guy early. I wouldn't be surprised if they chase him. I wouldn't be surprised if they get Boyd out of there by the 5th inning. And I think they can win a game, something like 5-3, 5-4 type game to the Dodgers in that game. And then I gave you my other plays. But getting back to that UNC, I got my hand on this. I'm using my phone to do all this, man. So I appreciate that, man. When I hold my phone, sometimes I have my hand underneath where you plug in your phone to charge, and you can't hear it. So I appreciate that, man. Thank you for reminding me. I'll keep that in mind for now on, because that was the second time. Am I still you still can't hear me now? Okay, let me see if I hold the phone up here. Okay, great. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for letting me know that. I hope it wasn't for the whole live stream. You know, to put it in a nutshell, is we're going to close up this live stream. Wager Detective likes the Rockies tonight, the Rangers. Who else? Rockies, Rangers, Dodgers, Phillies, Yankees. Those are kind of my plays tonight. Also, college football coming up in a couple weeks again. UNC to cover that 6.5 versus TCU. They got absolutely demolished last year by TCU, and that game was Belichick's first game as a head coach in college, and I think he's going to have a different game plan to keep his team in this game. I like him plus 6.5, man. I think UNC could probably win that game outright, but 6.5, get on it now before that line moves. Hopefully it goes to 7. If you get 7, as soon as you see it, jump on it, because I do not think that they're going to get beat like they did. They got absolutely crushed last year, and that's my play going into the college football season. So that's Wager Detective. Again, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and set alerts on Twitter. Set alerts on YouTube. You know, you never know what Wager Detective is going to drop. Any intel, a lean on the game. I dropped that Red Sox game yesterday before the game started. It was probably only about 10 minutes before the game started. But if you look at my cap, I have a cap for the game, for the game tonight. I forget which one it is, but I did a full deep dive. Oh, it's is it the Yankees? Oh, Yankees Cardinals game. I did a deep dive into that game, and now it's just going to be me posting the picture of my handicap for a particular game. So I try to handwrite as best I can to kind of let people get a glimpse into what Wager Detective. I appreciate you too, UNLV, man. I thank you so much, man. I'm going to get better as I go with this. Be on the lookout for that cap I'm going to drop this right after the chat, and it's going to be the cap on that game. And when I got done the cap, I looked at it and I said, what was the best angle? But now that I'm thinking about it and talking about it, you had the Cardinals that are going to fly from Toronto to New York. You had New York Yankees flying from the Chicago coming back home. You got Schlittler on the mound, fantastic. You got McGreevy, serviceable. He does give up the home run, at least a home run per 9 in all different types of splits that I have on that game. And I just believe that the more I think about it, Usually when you see an 8 is an under type of play. And the more I look at that, could the Cardinals bats come alive now? No, I think they're a team that's built upon the pitching that they see, and I don't think Schlittler is the guy that they want to see. And I do believe that he's going to come out and pitch good, and I think they're going to have a little momentum now that they have Luis Garcia. That could be a threat to the over. He could come out and have a home run tonight. So keep an eye on that. But I like the Yankees in that game. I just think that the price is too much. So I would lean towards the under there, thinking that McGreevy can give you a good 4 or 5 innings, maybe only give up 2 earned runs. I don't see the Cardinals scoring much. It could be a 6-2, 5-2, 4-1 type game. Maybe even move that line to 8.5 to get it off the 8 and then just go under. So that's Wager Detective. Thank you for my one viewer tuning in, UNLV. I appreciate you, brother, for stopping by, sticking around. And Wager Detective, again, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you to all my fans present and future out there. I love all you guys. I'll talk to you later.